The Dick Van Dyke Show. Starring Dick Van Dyke. Rosemary, Maury Amsterdam, Larry Matthews, and Mary Tyler Moore.
Hello, Dick Van Dyke Show friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo. Today's episode is a look at my list of the best Richie Petrie moments from Season 5 of The Dick Van Dyke Show. There were really 3 episodes that showed Richie he was really prominent in, or he caused the rest of the episode, and so let's get started. Number 3 is Remember the Alimony. This is a flashback episode, but the very beginning features Richie. He's dressed up in a Mexican costume. He's going to be appearing in a school play. And so he's practicing and he found these papers. And so he asked if he could use those as a prop for the skit. Well, he wasn't supposed to find those papers. It's actually divorce papers that Rob and Laura filed very early on in their marriage while they were on a short little vacation in Mexico. Well, Richie wasn't supposed to find those papers, but he did. And then we get the rest of the episode where we see what caused the mini divorce. And so it all happened because of Richie. Number 2 is Odd But True. This is another episode where Richie caused the rest of the episode to happen. He's at the house with his best friend Freddie, and they're playing Connect the Dots. They go over and see Rob. He's asleep on the couch, and they see that he has a lot of freckles on his back. So they decide to connect the dots, to connect all the freckles. So they start doing that, and then they see, oh, there's a shape on Rob's back, on Richie's dad's back. It's actually the shape of the Liberty Bell. And so Laura and Millie see the shape, and they are surprised, shocked. And so we get the rest of the episode where everyone is fascinated by Rob's back. He's a little bit annoyed by this, but the whole episode happens because of Richie and his friend. But my number 1 pick is Go Tell the Birds and the Bees. This episode is completely focused on Richie, which I really like. So Richie has been telling his school friends the facts of life. He's been telling the story of the birds and the bees, but he's been adding his own twist to the stories. He's been adding some silly stories to the facts of life. Rob tries to talk to Richie about it, but he's struggling. This is an uncomfortable conversation to have with your child. And so Rob and Laura go and talk to the school guidance counselor. They hear exactly what Richie has been telling his school friends. And so they try to figure out a way to talk to Richie. And eventually they go home and they talk to Richie about it. They learn the truth. Richie has purposely been telling the children some silly stories because the children like the stories. He's a good storyteller. And so I like this episode because it's completely focused on Richie. It's the only episode from the season that's focused on Richie. And it's a funny situation that probably a lot of parents could relate to. And so I have a few clips from this episode, so enjoy.
Hi, Dad. Did you call me?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Rich. It's a girl. Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Huh? But I told you this morning. Weren't you listening? Oh, okay. But it's the last time I'm going to tell you. The whole thing takes 2 or 3 months. Huh? Yeah, I know Freddie had to wait almost a year, but that's because his family don't eat any cereal. Okay. Boy, girls are dumb. You want to see me, Dad?
Yeah, Rich. Sit down, will you?
What did I do wrong?
Nothing, sweetheart, nothing.
It's just that, Rich, there's a little confusion about what you're telling the kids at school. I'd like to clear it up if I can.
Oh, you mean about the babies and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's right, dear.
But I didn't tell them what you told me not to tell.
Well, who told you what to tell them?
Nobody. I made it up.
You made it up?
Yeah. Grandpa's story about Mr. Cabbage was silly.
Well, right.
And your story about the eggs and everything made a lot of sense.
Of course it did.
But you said I shouldn't tell that story to anybody.
Right again.
So I had to make one up.
Well, why, Rich? Or why did you have to make up any story?
Because the kids like me to tell stories. And I'm good at it, like Daddy.
Oh, you like that? Rich, why couldn't you tell them about other things?
I don't know as much about other things.
Rich, why don't you run out and play? And when you come back in, why, we'll talk about football and footnotes, anything else you want, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Listen, and no more stories of the kids. You let the other kids find out from their own parents, you hear?
Okay.
Okay.
Can I tell them how to make a monster?
Yeah, only plastic ones.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all I have for you this week. There weren't many episodes from the season that featured Richie. As I've said before in my seasons 3 and 4 videos, Richie steps back from the show a bit. He's not in a lot of episodes. Maybe he was growing up and he didn't really want to be on the show anymore. But there are still a few episodes that feature him. And so I hope that you enjoyed this week's video. Let me know what your favorite episode is featuring Richie from this season. If it's the same ones that I featured, let me know, and I'll be happy to read that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember to always laugh often.